Hi there. Hello. Okay, I just want to share some scatterbrained thoughts about discipline, okay? I hate discipline. I hate the word. I hate everything about discipline. If I saw discipline in front of me, I would punch him right in the nose. No, yeah, kind of, yes. Discipline. What is discipline? What? Discipline to me, I don't know the definition, but like, discipline to me is I am going to make myself do it. Damn it! I am sick and tired of the way that I have been doing it heretofore, and I am going to just do it. Now I'm not going to excuse myself. I'm not going to make any more excuses. I am going to just do it, and I'm going to like it. And if at any time I find myself making excuses, damn it, I'm just going to go through it. I'm gonna just suck it up. I'm gonna swallow it down, and I'm just gonna do it. That's what discipline is to me, right? So that to me sounds like forcing. I don't know what discipline is to you. Okay, maybe you got this. Maybe you got a good. I don't even know if using discipline or trying to discipline yourself is a good thing. Maybe there are good qualities. Like. Because I'm so interested in morality and moral discussions and how things work. How does that work? What's the point? What's the purpose? God made things like this. How does it work? How does your mind work? How does your soul work? The whole idea of a soul, what a soul actually is, it was new to me. I had this idea of the spirit and the soul, and these two things were synonymous in some ways. You could interchange them. And now I have a more firm idea of the difference and the implications of the difference, and it's pretty profound. So, there's a lot of things that I'm learning through receiving these teachings from Mary and Jesus. And, maybe they have something to say about discipline. I don't know that they've said too much about or used that word in any particular way, but to me, it sounds a lot like what they call willpower. So if they have something to say about discipline in the future, and I'm missing something, then I'm going to correct myself. But at this point, discipline sounds a lot like willpower. And the problem with willpower is that you're forcing yourself to do something without seeing or really feeling the reasons for the goodness, you might say, of that act, or the loving nature of that act, or the loving motivation behind that act. So for myself, I could say, hey, eating like 4 Twinkies every single night because I love Twinkies, that's good, right? Wait, maybe it's not good. Maybe eating 4 Twinkies every single night and forcing my liver to sort through all the toxins it just received, maybe that's not such a good thing. And actually, people who work in these factories that have to make these dang Twinkie bars, and they have to make a lot of them, maybe the conditions for those people, just feeling that they have to work to make my Twinkies, maybe that's not such a good thing. That would be a better process, looking at the implications of what you're doing. The fact that eating 4 Twinkies every night will probably add pounds to your person, and you will gain weight, and it will be harder to move around, and you'll kind of feel like your mind and your brain doesn't work as well as it ought to, as well as you might want it to, and you're not as clear-headed as you might like to be. Looking at those things, that really would do far more to help you to change any behavior or any habit or any addiction that you might want to change. These are just my thoughts. It's very simple. I think discipline was ingrained as a good idea growing up in myself, and I think it's ingrained in many people. I grew up in the Unification Church, which had a lot of East Asian influence, and of course in East Asia there's this very strong. Well, if I think about Buddha, which was one of the thought leaders in Asia, he led an ascetic life in which he sought to remove desires, actually remove desires from himself, and go without food and water and the amenities that one might find in the world and the enjoyable things, in order to try and reach a state of enlightenment. And I was raised to think of the mind and body relationship, so-called. And I was told either you can embolden the mind so that it has dominance over the body, or you can deny the body and its wants. So, I was taught to try and do what was called conditions, what we called conditions in the church I was raised in, where, you you would forego certain things. It's kind of like Lent in the Catholic Church, where, your favorite thing that you might have enjoyed doing or consuming, maybe a little bit too much, you would forego doing or consuming that thing for a period of time. And it was much the same in my upbringing. My hand is getting a little tired. And what I found in my many years of research, personal research, my many years of wondering, is that, I've done a lot of conditions, and my most successful conditions were probably fasting, strangely enough. I remember I would fast, the longest I fasted was 7 days, and I would just forego food. And there was something very good about foregoing food, because it was one of my major addictions, and I felt kind of freed from it. But what I found is, even when I forewent food or whatever, I would still imagine it. I would imagine myself eating food. Like, I would spend hours in the day imagining what I would eat, and I would still kind of like have this relationship with food that I couldn't, I wasn't able to undo myself from. And what causes those imaginings, those fantasies, those desires to go from your soul? That's, to me, the real question. Can you actually remove unloving desires from your being? Of course, if you could do that, then you wouldn't have, if you didn't have the motivation to do something wrong, if you didn't have the motivation to have 4 Twinkies every day, then you wouldn't go and get 4 Twinkies. It just wouldn't be in you. Every action is preceded by a motivation. So, I have friends that tried the no-fap November, and I kind of like sat on the sidelines, listening. I didn't want to like talk to them too much about it, and there's other reasons why I don't feel that I need to talk to them. But it's interesting to hear what they went through, and I know what it's like to attempt to forego masturbation. Fapping, if you don't know, FAP, is another term for masturbation, and it's also a way to go to to forego pornography, viewing pornography. And I've tried it myself, and it's very difficult. In fact, one of my longer conditions, you might say, where I attempted to forego masturbation and also food and other things, I attempted even to forego fantasizing about women. It all came to a head, and I did begin fantasizing about a woman. And I masturbated thinking of her, and whew, boy did I feel bad then. I really, like, I was punishing myself, and I was attacking myself, and I felt like the scum of the earth. I felt like shit. And you know, that's usually the process. You say, damn it, I am gonna go for this thing. I'm not gonna engage in the same actions and behaviors and ways that I have all this time, and damn it, I'm gonna go for this thing. And then usually you start, you know, you forego that activity, and typically you'll begin fantasizing about how you want to do it. So it's not like you're doing any work to remove the motivation necessarily. And then you might even feel bad about that, and you might self-punish because you're actually thinking about it so much, you know, whatever that thing you're foregoing is. And then at some point you just like, you lose yourself and you just engage in that thing. And then you feel really bad. And, you know, for many people, the fact that you've acted is more important. For most people, I would say, the fact that there's concrete evidence that you've acted, that you've done something, is more of a buzzkill, or is more painful than the fact that you have this constant motivation that you're really cultivating inside of yourself. I mean, let's be real here. Maybe we should look more at the motivation. Why are we so obsessed about something? You know, why do we constantly go over it and fantasize about something? You know, like I have dreams about eating. I have dreams about snatching other people's food. Food that's like, there's food laid out. There's like all this food, and I'm like, how can I get more than I really should have and get away with it? I have dreams about that. So, you know, maybe it would be good for humankind to really notice how we fantasize, how we motivate ourselves into doing things, and ask whether we can actually remove those motivations. I think, to try and put a fine point on this video, I think the answer that Jesus and Mary are giving us is that if you do forego the addiction and you feel the fear underneath. Now, I haven't really understood that. I don't feel like I really felt any fear. One time I did. It was a very small event, but meaningful, where I started fantasizing about going to get some food. And I was like, really? Again? You know, you really, like, really? Do you have to do that? And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm really not going to do it. And then I felt some fear. I felt this fear, like, bolt surge through me. And then I just felt it instead of, like, pushing it away. And then I immediately got into some tears. I was like, wow, that's the process right there. So hopefully I can duplicate that in the future. But it's a very interesting process, you know, this process of trying to, so basically, yeah. What is discipline? What is willpower? What is forcing yourself to do something, rather than seeing the loving reasons why, you know, foregoing that thing would be good. I think you guys get what I'm saying. I don't want to go on forever, so I'm just going to end it here. And just to put a final point on it, Jesus and Mary suggest that you feel the fear underneath. The reason why we engage in addictions is that we're acting not against our fear, but with our fear, for our fear, or whatever. So we need to develop a desire to feel our fear. That's one thing I'm praying about now, and I wish you well in your journey.